Kyle, what are your thoughts on getting back into Total War Warhammer 3?
Jesus Christ. Huh.
Because it is, I want an RTS game that is less sweaty than Age of Empires. I love playing Age of Empires. It's too sweaty
for me to get into,
but
honestly.
AoE is really intense. You would love it because you're really good and into min-maxing different strategies.
It has to be my life. It has to be my life for me to be good at it. I have to devote days to it. And I have to get up. I get up at 7 a.m., drink my coffee, and play Tarkov for 3 hours.
It's almost like a middle ground, though, because like AoE is so sweaty and so difficult.
Yeah, I'll play. I will.
Total War Warhammer 3 is like
I'll play
so
Warhammer.
Not sweaty and relatively easy compared to AoE that like it's not as.
And I'm good at it already. I'm good at it already.
Dude, you and I fucked people up when we would play 2v2. You played the Dark Elves. I played the Ogres. I took early map control with my speed. You played back, did some skirmishing.
All right, here's what we'll do. We got a whole plan now. I'll get back into it, and we'll have Turin on as a guest on the show, and we'll do like 3 hours of Total War Warhammer talk. We'll talk lore. We'll talk about the real Drukhari, the real
People
Empire.
Will love that.
Yes, we'll do dwarven lore, like thick dwarven lore. Yes,
I'm just excited talking about what we're going to talk about.
Oh, we're going to love it, Woody. You don't know anything, Woody.
That's confirmed.
You don't know anything about the intricacies of Dawi lore, Woody.
But yeah, I'll do that.
And I'd keep playing Ogres. I need to check back in and see if they've made any updates.
They've added new shit. That game's such a money sink. The game that's cool, and I wish we could show. I don't know if we can show. It's Space Marine 2. So Space Marine 1 came out, I think, 2011, and the trailers and the gameplay look really fun. You play as a Space Marine fighting Tyranids, which is
Halo
this intergalactic.
Ripoff?
Pardon?
Halo ripoff? Question mark?
No, it's completely different.
Wait, is it an RTS or an FPS?
It's Warhammer 40k Space Marines, so it predates Halo.
Okay.
This is a first-person shooter or a real-time strategy?
It's more like third-person viewpoint, and you're a Space Marines, which is like a demigod, essentially.
Skyrim-ish.
And you're fighting aliens that are, they're called the Tyranids. In this case, I think they're just monsters. They kind of look like xenomorphs. There's big ones and small ones and all sorts of shit. It's very bloody, smashy. You've got a chainsword, got a big cannon. It's bolter. I'm excited for that one. I sent you the link the other day. I'm so into the lore of that universe that I'm just down to play anything that's rooted in it that looks fun. So I'm definitely going to play that. But yeah, I'll play some Warhammer 3. I wish that I was more into that lore, because sometimes I'll be watching
lore.
Fantasy lore, which I think predates 40k. That it's the original thing, and a lot of 40k is sort of taken from the fantasy and just made to work in a futuristic universe. Sure. So, like, if you look at
they're different. Like you've told me, they're like in the 40k universe. It's not like the Empire became that Empire.
I don't. As far as I know, the Empire does. It's a completely different universe, and the Empire didn't exist. The 40k universe is 40,000 years from our future. Has always been my take on that that universe.
Well, either way, I'm down to play that game again. It was fun as shit, and it is aesthetically the coolest looking game I've ever experienced. Like, I don't. Yeah. Like, what's a better one? What's a cooler battle than Total War Warhammer 3? There's
that Civil War game that I will also play with you if you want, where everybody role plays and you do these. No, it's called like War of Rights, I think, and it's about the Civil War, and there are these big bayonet charges of good old Southern boys, and they're all doing their accents, and they're all running like through cornfields, getting mowed down by Yankees. It looks.
I'd try that out, but like. Age of Empires 2 sucks me in because there's like 50 different civilizations.
That's a meme game that I would want to play for.
Total War Warhammer sucks me in because there's, probably only 14 or something different civilizations you can play, races in that game, because they're totally different races. But
yeah, no, I'll play that with you. And I'm sure some of the other guys will get into it. I know
Power World I forgot all of the I forgot all the hotkeys. I know everything.
With that muscle memory, baby.
Sometimes you think you forget, and then you get called upon to do it, and your body remembers.
I hope you're right.
Yeah,
I hope you're right.
It's like riding a bike.
So
thousands of hours into that shit.
Like after going from like the first time we got into Total War Warhammer 3, it was following me getting into Age of Empires 2 again. And when I went over to Warhammer 3 and started playing, my instinct was like, all right, send them to attack. What do I need to be doing? I need to be doing something. I need to move things, because in AoE you're doing fucking 50 actions a minute if you're dog shit like me. And in Total War Warhammer, a lot of the movement is like, now I just need to wait. Like,
does the game tell you how many actions a minute you did?
There's in AoE 2, there's like, if you watch someone's game with a certain software, it'll tell you their peak APM, what their like idle villager count was. It'll tell you everything. What's a
good APM?
All the really good players are well into the hundreds.
Okay, so like 120-ish.
Yeah, some of them will hit like 200. Like,
I'll get that software.
But also like, they are professional players who are like compulsively hitting stuff sometimes. And so you'll hear like with even StarCraft, stuff like that. It's like, oh man, 180 actions per minute. And it's like, okay, but 65 of those were him hitting the spacebar key to take him back to his town center over and over and over and over while he was doing stuff.
I mean, that's action.
I used to watch in COD. People used to like YY a lot. Like a lot. It had nothing to do with gameplay. They're just like strategically holding a corner. Why? Yeah. It's like, these are wasted movements. It doesn't help them.
100%. Like,
but because they're pros, you think like, oh shit, should I be hitting YY more?
Yeah, when I like watch, like sometimes in the tournament AoE games that I watch afterward, it'll have like the caster vision, which shows the peak APM. And very often the losing player has less APM because it's like that person was making deliberate decisions with their actions per minute, and this other person was like spamming spacebar and clicking and saying, oh, this unit, don't go over here once with one right click, go right click, like 100 times, trying to keep them going.
There's I'll try that software. I'm curious when we get back into Warhammer how much clicking there.
Or if you jump into AoE 2 with me, that'd be fun.
That's not happening. But I'll do that. There is some micro. You do send those, like maybe like you can imagine like the head of a bull. You've got your central force and then maybe two horns who want to wrap around to the flanks. You can kind of like 5 or 6 inputs, and that's doing its thing. You sent them all the way over there, so now you're waiting. But then you'll have like some really fast, speedy units that are glass cannons, or maybe not exactly a glass cannon, but definitely glass mosquito. They're like glass mosquitoes. That's what Warhammer has a lot of. You send these fucking dirty shitheads who are hard to see and that are too quick to run down, and they shoot blow darts with poison at your guys, and your guys will start chasing them. So now you have a good unit devoted to just chasing a blow dart guy who's cheap, but now he's hit you with the blow dart, so your guys are all they're poisoned, so they're slow. That's what blow dart man loves. I've sent him on a zigzag route he's pre-programmed to do, and he just automatically blows his blow darts and throws his shit.
And the way you beat Kyle in Total War Warhammer 3 in the domination mode,
blow him constantly, distract him.
You blow him constantly and distract him, and he's coming too hard to even notice. No, Kyle, there's a little counter in the side that says the amount of gold damage you've done, and so Kyle and I are both going to bring armies, and we're both allotted 20,000 gold or whatever. And on the side, it's not a win metric, but it shows like, oh man, Taylor's only done 5,000 gold damage to Kyle's army, and Kyle's done 6,200 to Taylor's army. Kyle pays way too much attention to that number because the win condition number is how long you've held the flags. And so what you do against Kyle is you send in a bunch of high armor heavy units to those points, because I know he's not even going to contest the points in the beginning of the game. He's going to let me have them, and he's going to try and harass me. And my goal is to hold on to them to the point that I have 1,100 points and he's got 102. And then late game, he has to triple cap to win. But I'm playing heavy ass ogres. And so there's no way he's going to push me off my final point when I'm like Helm's Deeping it. No, we were.
He's absolutely right. So I'll allow him to take his home flag and the middle flag, and I won't try to send anybody who would stand on a flag and capture, like a big sword wielding guy or a bunch. It's groups of them. When I say a guy, I mean 80 to 120 men in a formation who all look the same roughly. So I'll send guys who just harass and shoot in. And my goal is to weaken his army. As time goes on, we're accruing more gold, so our armies are growing, and I want his to always be getting smaller and mine to always getting bigger. And when I have like a strength of numbers that I normally wouldn't have unless that harass had been effective, now I can just bully him and just push him all the way back into his spawn. And once I kill all of his troops, Now I'm spawn killing. You're literally spawn killing.
Yeah,
it's real fun. It's a hard way to play the game.
You have to wait and do the right kind of internal math where it's like, all right, Kyle's gonna win the gold battle here because he's gonna go less on the points than I am. It's gonna be complicated to make sure that I move back at the right time.
The reason you would often beat me, and you're playing fine, but I'm often playing strategies that are hard to beat because I watch so much of it. The reason you'd often beat me is because I was so goddamn high that I would forget to attack. I'd still be biding my time, I'd be microing 3 things around shooting, and like 8 minutes would go by because I was so fucking high.
Oh, I know. There would be times when we'd be 1v1ing and I'd be like, all right, I'm at 1,320 points and he's at 400 and I've got 2 flags.
Yeah,
he must really be biding his time before this next one because
I bided way too much.
Can you win with a triple cap? Like in domination, you can always win with a triple cap. You could be down 199 to 0.
Yeah. It works exactly like domination, where it ticks up based on the number of flags you have held.
It can be really fun to play duos in that because we'll make our armies complement one another. Mm-hmm. Like he might have a troop that like fights harder if there's, I don't know, some sort of stink near them. So I'll bring some stinky guys, it's just like little things like that.
That worked well because I would often play ogres, which is a fast, heavy civilization race, whatever they're called. And so I would very quickly take control of them. And then Kyle, because he's playing with me and I'm not going heavy skirmisher units, he goes very heavy skirmisher units. And his focus is to weaken everybody before they show up to contest with me on the points. And that works.
I like that I like that play style because it's harder to do, and I'm always trying to get better at that micro because that's what I was always bad at. But harassing is so people would do it to me when I first started, and it feels like being bullied because you don't have an answer for it. They're just running from you, and you're chasing them, and they just keep shooting you, and they run and run and run until you're just whittled away. And it's like, man, you just bullied the shit out of me there. That was awful.
That's true, but like on my side from the strategy I usually took, which was ramp up capture early, it was like, oh, he's harassing the hell out of my ogre bull unit, the most worthless who gives a fuck unit. Good. Keep harassing them because my ogre bulls are still standing on the point and they're still accruing points. I don't care if you knock them off because you're using a 475 gold value unit to harass my 500 gold unit.
Are you gonna get your brother and his boys to come over to the Warhammer side, or are they just steeped in AoE, or have they gone to Pal World yet?
They've played some Pal World. They're gamers, and so they bounce around. But I'll get them into Total War Warhammer 3 also. Like the learning curve for learning Total War is so much lower than Age of Empires. That like if you can get people into Age of Empires and then tell them, hey, there's a game that requires 1/8 the actions per minute and you're not managing an economy at all, and the games are fucking 15 minutes long. Pretty easy to make that transition. And the units look so cool.
It's expensive though. That's the problem. The base game is, I don't know what the base game costs, but I would
probably still $60.
Yeah. But when you buy everything, and I mean everything, you're a couple hundred, maybe $300 in. It's Games Workshop. I don't do the miniature thing. I've always said I think that's where I draw the line. I kind of wish I had one just to stick on my desk like a bobblehead. But the idea of painting them and then showing up to an event with some sort of fucking landscape and putting all my minis out there and rolling dice and playing the game, I'm not into that at all.
Let's get back into it and let's run some 2v2s online and roll some people. That'd be fun.
Sure, I'm sure the people in our Discord would be down, but I won't be completely lured away from Tarkov because things are going well, just swimmingly over there.
You don't want to get back to Warhammer where we'd like just absolutely demolish fish.
No, I'll play. A bunch of those guys in there
who's playing to make friends.
Yeah, Fish is playing for fun, and he'd be like forgetting units in the very back.
You know what it's like? It's like that scene in Sopranos where Ralphie's making the fat guy play basketball with him, even though he's tired. He's like, "Come on, a little defense," and the guy like just puts his arm out, and Ralphie just runs around him and scores like another layup. Come on, Ralphie, I'm tired.
That's how it is with a couple of my buddies who are like way more into other games than Age of Empires, but I have a bunch of friends and we all jump on and play, and they'll like be on my team and I'll be like, hey, can you on your second monitor just pull up AoE Companion and just like pick a build order and follow it? It's going to help you a lot. And they'll be like, nah, and so then I'm like playing the game and I'm like, guys, I'm getting attacked a lot because everyone knows I'm the best player on this team. I'm getting harassed early. And they're like, oh, interesting. It's like they're just still, what are you gonna do? They're playing SimCity back there. They're hitting Imperial Age at like an hour. It's like, that's a terrible time. You need to be hitting Imperial Age at like early 30 minutes at most. And they're like, nah, I'm farming, bitch. Like, I'm doing my own thing at my own pace. I'm like, hey, you're playing the Franks. You want to go heavy in cavalry? And they're like, nah, I'm going unupgraded shitty crossbows.
Meanwhile, he's got like a peaceful colony growing tons of carrots. And just like,
my younger brother, I got him. my youngest brother is a big time gamer. He's good at pretty much every game. My younger brother is not a gamer at all. And so when I got him into Age of Empires and he'd play occasionally, I would always put him on my team so that I could kind of build around him and protect him. And there would be times where we'd be an hour into a game and I would have my entire forward base built around his to make sure no one could get to him. And I'd be like talking to my other ally and I'd be like, Brett, I'm really getting pushed here. Can you spare some units? And then my brother would be like, oh, are we being attacked? And it's like 40 minutes into it, but he's just SimCitying in the back.
He has no idea.
Yeah. And his move every single time, because I would forget to change the win condition. I want to play win condition conquest, which is you demolish their base, but I always forget and leave it on standard, which means you can build a wonder and then a time starts where it's like, if you don't destroy that person's wonder in 200 years, which is probably 15 minutes game time, you lose. And so I'd be defending and then suddenly I'd hear the wong music, meaning that my younger brother once again built a wonder. And I'm like, oh, you actually did something great. I'm going to keep defending. We need to
like legitimately, what's the most upset you get from losing it at Age of Empires? Like, or you have gotten?
Oh man, there have been some time in like interpersonal friend games. There have been times that my buddy Brennan and my younger brother will end up on the other team, because usually it goes like you have this, if there's 6 of us, they're the number 2 and 3 players and I'm the number 1 player as far as like amount of damage you can do over the game. And so they always end up on the same team. And so every single fucking game that I play against them, it's always like, what's going to happen? And I'll tell my teammates, I'm like, I'm going to get rushed by both of them in early feudal age. And then they always rush me in early feudal age. And I get tilted because I'm annoyed, because I'm like, and these fucking pieces of shit killing my villagers. No, the most tilted I've been in an online game was a dude beat me badly and laughed at me. It may have even been in a 2v2. I don't remember if it was a team game or an individual one, but like, he was beating us badly and kept putting in like the ha 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 ha. And then he put those taunts in, and I didn't like that. He called me king of the losers because there's a taunt that says, all hail king of the losers. And then he kept playing that over and over. And it's upset enough that like afterward I closed out of the game and then like paced around for a while, like
that's
thinking
what I
to
wanted
myself,
to know.
where I was like, I'm not bad at that game. It's just that guy's fucking gay and he's way too into it. People who are worse than me are noobs, and people who are better than me are gay for caring too much. And like that level of shit. I was, dude, when you build up, when your build order is perfect, and I'm like, that was a perfect boar lure. That was I have a good map. Because it's a RG, like random number generator map. I have 3 wood lines I can easily wall. And you're like banging on all cylinders. And you think in your head, you're way ahead. And then you get steamrolled. It's really upsetting.
I ask because I've been watching Pastilli play Tarkov. So you probably don't know this, Taylor, but he does his regular account where he just plays Tarkov the way everybody else does. But then he owns 6 accounts. But then he does another account where he does hardcore mode. And hardcore mode is the same game, but it's full of self-imposed limitations. Okay. So, and it creates a game that is so punishing, Taylor. I'm not going to go into the nerdy details, but just know that when I play, everything that I get out of the raid, I can sell for vast amounts of money. He cannot. And when I'm playing, I have that secure container that we joke about as our asshole. It's our gamma container because we paid for the good version of the game. And it's like 3 squares by 3 squares, I think. It might be 4 by 4. It's big. and I think it's 3x3. It's weird, I don't know, but that's enough room to keep all your medicine in and all your keys and all your ultra valuables. And if you find like, oh, this thing's worth $500,000, you move your meds out of your ass, you put that in there,
and you can't lose that.
Die. Now, when you die, you go and sell that, and you're like, who cares that I died? This thing's worth $560,000. My whole kit was worth way less than that. I won, even though I lost. He can't do that. He's got to keep everything out in the open except for keys. Dude, I watch his streams, the VODs, after the fact, so I can fast forward through the loading screens and stuff. He's legitimately upset. Like he's having. I know he's not going to cry, but I feel like I have felt the way that he feels, and that's when I could cry if I wanted to. He's to that level, and he admitted it today in today's VOD. He's like, yesterday was so awful. It was so awful. I just loss after loss, and just I'd win one. And then 3 losses in a row, and you're just right back down in the gutter. No meds, and he's like completely broke. He's running into the raids with like no armor, no chest stuff, like not even a backpack. Sometimes he's like, gotta find a backpack. Like sometimes he's got just a pistol with 6 bullets because that's all he's got left. He's doing and when he dies,
sounds miserable.
He'll find a big pile of money and he'll be like basically collecting the money off the floor. All right, we gotta come up here. And you'll hear some asshole in the darkness with a silenced machine gun just instantly kills him. And he goes, fuck! No! No! Like a father just watching his kid get hit by a fucking semi truck for a moment. He's just like, he'll get up and storm off camera and like compose himself. And I'm watching, feeling so sorry for him.
Good content, though.
It's good content. But his... you'll see the chats in the VOD, so you can see them, and they'll just be like, "No, so sorry, Pest. Keep your chin up."
What? Like, the chat is nice.
Yeah, of course, it's Pestilly's chat. They can. He's
that's true.
Don't imagine that he's failed 3 times in a row, or he's been failing for an hour. He's been failing for 8 hours today. They've been here with him. They want him to get a win. It's like
I think Landmark's chat would not be so sweet.
That's because he wins 90% of the time.
Yeah,
more accepting of Pastilli.
Landmark's on top. When you see him fall every now and then, you don't feel bad about how much further ahead in the game he's always going to be than you with his $2,200 in earphones.
I did get, dude. You talking about getting fucked up in games is reminding me of an AoE 2 game I played like 1 week ago, online 1v1, and a strategy in the game is to get to Castle Age, because that's usually the power spike of your civilization. You go Dark Age, Feudal Age, Castle Age, Imperial Age, and you can drop castles in Castle Age. And castles are the most powerful building in the game. They shoot automatically. They're super tanky. They're expensive as shit. And so a strategy is you apply forward pressure, which I did, harassing him. And then I saved up for a castle quickly and then placed a castle on his base, a forward castle, which means it ranges a lot of his stuff. And in my head, I'm like, this game is going so swimmingly. It's going so well. I'm winning. I can see the score in the bottom right. I'm ahead, and I'm dropping a castle right near his main base. I can't believe everything's going so serendipitously. And then, like, I finish my castle, and I start getting the ding ding, like you're being attacked alarm. He has, while I was tunnel visioned on the castle on his base, he was building a wildly more effective castle on my base. And so then I'm like, because he didn't just build the castle like I did. He had a ready to go siege workshop right next to it and a town center. And so he's making villagers, and now he's collecting my berries. Now, milkshake. He says, I eat your berries and I eat your cows. And so he came into my base, and now he's eating my resources and shooting at my farms and my town center. And I'm immediately like devastated because I've gone from such an artificial high because I've been killing his villagers all game. I feel like I'm the man. And then I see my base, and it's like, oh, this guy's like me at this game, but better. But much better at knowing what to do. It was very frustrating. It was a long fought battle, and I ended up losing in the end. I probably could have kept going.
The nice thing about Warhammer is when you get butt fucked like that, you can almost always lie and be like, just a bad matchup. When they pick this, and you've picked that, like, what are you gonna do? Keep picking something different?
Like ogres could be vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
dude, the ogres are not a good civ. I just love them. They have good vibes.
It's a group of ogres. It's funny. They've got guns too. It's silly.
Yeah, the ogres are great. And actually, I would argue that in the 2v2s we do, the ogres are a good second team to have.
They're hard to move off the map.
I can bully people off of points.
Yeah, my troops can all die, and yours will still be there, like suffering. But I'll be back with reinforcements before they're wiped out. It's a good way to play. But I haven't played the game since you and I were playing. It's been like 2 years almost.
It's been over a year. Yeah, we need to get back.
Been a while.
That'd be fun.
I still say that Turin guy would be a good guest. I find him to be interesting and just generally a nice guy. I like his content.